Hello again. Call over to Chris Wallace. Yeah. Chris had the Secretary of State, John Kerry, on. And Chris was talking to Kerry about the deal that he put together with the chosen one. You know, that flop-eared, crack-smoking, Sunni Muslim extremist, homosexual, Barack Hussein Obama. And he asked Kerry about the deal. Well, yeah, you know, we put this deal together, and yeah, it's you know, we circumvented Congress because if we would have had conditions on the deal, then we would have had to have gone to Congress. But because we don't have any conditions on the deal, there wasn't a need for us to go to Congress. Well, then if there's no deal where they have to, you know, have any consequences, what do they have to do? Well, they have to report, you know, and the reporting is done on a voluntary basis. And based on a report, we then determine as to what they have to do next. It's sort of interesting. This is Gabe Zalman now. Well, it's no different than the deal they put together with Iran. Remember that Iranian nuclear deal? Again, there's no consequences. And what do we know? Well, we know that Iran's launched 2 mid-range ballistic missiles. The deal prohibited for them doing that. And the deal also allowed them to do self-reporting as to the progress they're making with their nuclear developments. Has anyone heard of any of these reports being submitted? Well, this climate change deal, what happens to countries like China if they don't reduce their emissions? Well, I mean, nothing. I mean, you know, the only ones that have to reduce their emissions are the United States. Does that seem like a fair thing to do if just the United States? Well, I mean, you know, the president is the president of the United States, and I guess one of the things is that, you know, we can guarantee compliance. This is, again, Gabe Zalman. You know how they're going to guarantee compliance? They're going to put a massive carbon tax. Yeah. You know what would be interesting is if someone would calculate the amount of carbon that the chosen one put into the air with his idiotic, moronic, constant flights on Air Force One. I think last year I did a calculation based on the research that I did, and Obama was more in the air than he was on the ground. Yeah. And there's numerous times that Michael, you know, that freak that pretends to be a woman, would fly in her own jet along with the dog. Speaking of the dog, have we heard anything about the dogs? There's 2 of them now, isn't there? Have we seen the dogs? Is it possible that they were served up in one of the dinners for Obama's guests from Indonesia or from Turkey? Recap: Tayyip Erdogan might enjoy fricasseed French. What kind of dog was that? Spaniard? Or I don't know, some kind of dog. You have to laugh, because if you don't laugh, you're going to cry. And this Chris Wallace, could you imagine what kind of a job he'd have if his papa wasn't who his papa was? I mean, who would hire this guy? Look at him. He looks like he's sucking on a prune.